A day may come when the courage of the Bloaty Boys will fail, but it is not this day. And today, guys, we're back with a showdown between the Vampire Coast, who's going to be coming in once again with the PENTABLOAT corpse build. And it looks like they're going to be facing off against the Lizardmen, who shall be led by a blueberry slime, which I think it's actually a light slime. We'll go ahead and check anyways. So as far as the build goes, as you guys would expect, it's going to be 5 bloated corpses. Now, we are on Troll Country, which is a relatively small map. And I was kind of thinking that oftentimes when you play against Lizardmen with Vampire Coast, they go super wide, right? They bring like just mass Saurus and just like a huge wide army. They wrap around you and they just try and grind you down. But, you know, bloated corpses, in that sense, maybe do have a bit of a niche because a Saurus, or if there's a group of Saurus like coming up on you, right? And you're able to get the bloated corpse on top of the Saurus, they're probably going to bring them down with a direct hit to like 20%, and that probably is worth it in terms of your gold invested. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. We have 5 bloated corpses here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 in the middle. So I put 1 out in the open just so my opponent would be like, oh, you know, maybe he just has 1 bloated corpse. It's right there in the middle. It's obvious, you know, that's all he has, right? So I was trying to be a little bit gamey here. So we do have 1 out in the open. Not sure how it's going to go for him. And we have 2 bloated corpses over here in these trees as well. But they have to run right away because my opponent does have a vanguard of skink skirmishers and some other troops here. So very scary stuff. Now, obviously, if you're going to be memeing this hard, bringing this many bloated corpses, basically spending close to 2,000 gold or over, I don't really know the math off the top of my head, but it's a lot. You have to bring some competitive units. So we do have Luther Harkin plus a Terrorgeist, and these guys are pretty good at just like sniping out high-value targets, right? They both have good AP. Luther has his pistol. You can jump on the Slans. You can jump on Carnosaurs with the 2v1. I mean, they're on Deathstreak Terrorgeists, which don't have a bonus versus large, which means actually they're a little bit better versus infantry, but not quite as good against large. I mean, they're still good against large, but yeah, they're more of like an all-rounder type unit. So we got Luther and the Terrorgeist. That's pretty much it there. Front line's going to be 3 zombies, very thin, obviously, because of the Bloaty Boys. 2 cannons in the back. Now, the cannons are going to be a great tool because my opponent actually brought Bastillodons. He brought Salamanders, a lot of firepower, actually. So having the Carronades to kind of sit onto the Bastillodon with the Solar Engine all game is going to be very valuable. That's pretty much it for my army, guys. Just got a couple of Fellbats kind of lurking in the shadows, but for the most part, that is it. And unfortunately, the first Bloaty Boy going to be taking the shot, and he tried to juke it, but, you know, he's not the fastest. He's definitely looking for those chicken tendies, but he is not finding them in the face of that Solar Engine over there. So for my opponent's build, it's a very interesting one. He does have a couple groups of skinks, and I was a little bit kind of disheartened initially. I was like, oh man, he has skink cohorts with javelins and like all kinds, like he doesn't really have any Saurus or high value infantry for the Bloaty Boys to hit, so it's going to be tricky. But yeah, he's got javelins, he does have a Solar Engine, 2 groups of skink chiefs on foot with their dart guns, pretty good at sniping out bloated corpses. He does also have the Legion of Chaqua in the back to minimize the cannon fire, a Slan Mage with high magic, and it looks like salamanders, skink cohorts everywhere, just yeah, mostly a skink army, some Saurus in the back though. On top of that, he does have Cold One Riders and Feral Cold One, so Clever Girls plus some regular Cold One Spear Riders, it looks like they're Cold One Riders, and some skirmishers everywhere. So it's going to be really tough for the Bloaty Boys to get in there, that's for sure. So initially with the battle starting, I do send the Fellbats out to the flank. I'm like, hey, there's some skink skirmishers here. Let's see if we can break them, chase them off the battlefield, get lucky. Regular skink skirmishers, chameleons have better stats, but the regular ones don't really. I mean, 16 and 14, so the Fellbats can actually fight this. Now here in the center, the skink chiefs are going to be coming in. I think they were chasing the Bloaty Boy and trying to get some good darts on him. But Luther Harkin and company on the other side are actually able to chase off the skink skirmishers with some Fellbats. So now I'm going to be coming back and trying to get some freebies here while the cannons continue to shoot in against the Bastillodon. Apotheosis going down and Shield of the Old Ones going to give some good healing as well as a ward save against my cannon fire, and the Salamanders now are going to start roasting my lightly armored troops on the front line. On the other side though, a Bloaty Boy is coming out of the trees, and here it comes. He's going to be going after these skirmishers. Is he going to make contact? He's running in. He wants those chicken tendies. He wants them bad, and he might actually be able to catch these guys. Hard to say. Find out in a second. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, he's waddling. Fellbats are kind of holding those guys in place, and they're not really able to kind of focus and dart him down because of the Fellbats, which is quite nice. Now in the front, things are getting a little bit ugly for sure. I have to summon some deckhand mobs to kind of halt this advance, but the skink chiefs accidentally overextend. I think there's a little bit of a mismicro there, so you can see Luther Harkin's going to be coming in with a huge old steel chair, doing a ton of damage against that skink chief. Hornswaggled, melee defense, armor's lord, speed's lord. It is definitely a great grab. Salamanders, in the meantime, I'm not sure where they were going. I think they were trying to shoot these bloated corpses, but I kept pulling them back and back, trying to keep them away. And now it is time. This bloated corpse lurks in the shadows. He's waiting for the opportunity to strike. And you can see a bit of a scary situation, actually. Luther Harkin and company are partially kind of surrounded here. I mean, I do have some supporting elements, but there's 2 groups of cav here. I actually thought they were both Spear Riders, so I was very nervous about this during the game. And the cannons are actually doing a really good job taking down that Bastillodon. But here, guys, the bloated corpse emerges from the trees. Here he comes. He's going to be coming after this juicy blob, and my opponent probably thought it was good. He's like, yes, I have spears collapsing in the back. I have my Slan. I have salamanders getting in position to kind of shoot these guys. But the courage of the bloated corpse never fails, and they shall not let down their leash. Here it comes. Poland Spear Riders, 35 models, and the Bloaty Boy comes in. Oh, absolute destruction! Just terminates those Cold One Spear Riders, and now suddenly I have a way out. He created a path for his Lord and Savior, Luther Harkin. Very, very good stuff. Now, if we take a look at the back, I know what you guys are interested in. We can talk about the dynamics of the game and all that good stuff, but I still have two Bloody Boys. I have one here, I have one in the front as well, looking for opportunities. And now this is where it actually gets a little bit scary because my opponent still has a ton of infantry that can advance on me. And, I invested a lot in those guys, and a couple of them just got KO'd right away. So this one's going to be jumping in as well. He's got his arms raised. Going to be trying to get on the cohort of Sotek, which would be a very, very good value grab right there. My Terror guys up in the sky are going to be doing a double breath attack against the Slann with Power Siphon, and we actually get some really good damage. With this bloated corpse trying to get in there, but my opponent does see it, and he's going to be pulling back here, so we're probably just going to clip the edge here. And yeah, I think that guy's like, screw this shit, I'm just going to blow up my Felbats. That's the thing about playing with those things. They can like actually really nuke your own troops if you're not careful. Anyways, here Luther Harkin and company are going to be going after the Slann Mage Priest. They Power Siphon him, which is okay. I mean, I don't know. You could arguably cut that ability. So yeah, we're just going to be trying to goon out the Slann. And thankfully our Carronades are still online, and there's still reserve troops back here. We have these zombie power deckhand mobs with polearms, 2 of those bad boys. And I think we have 1 bloated corpse left. So yes, he's going to be lurking right here, and I'll do my best. I think I've showed you guys every single detonation we've had. That's been good. I mean, there was 2 fails for the most part, like that one and the solar engine one. But yeah, I'll make sure to kind of focus on this last one right here and make sure you guys get to see that. I know that's kind of a meme where I like turn away and focus on something else, but my focus is zeroed in right now. So here you can see that the Deathshriek Terror guys are going to be going after the Salamander hunting packs, which is a good choice, getting rid of that, kind of anti-large, firepower, which actually does a lot of damage against Luther. You can see here, I saw the cohort of Sotek coming in with some singing cohorts, so I do intercept with the fleet captain. I pull some halberds from reserve, and I'm also going to be sending in the Bloody Boy. So if I can even like get the edge of this formation here, that'll probably do some pretty good damage and peel off some of the backline pressure. It looks like he has a lot of idle troops for sure. He's got some Saurus back here and other guys like that, so he 100% needs to move them in, and it looks like he now is. But here it comes, guys! Oh, and a bunch of damage cleaving through that formation. Now, it wasn't like a perfect one. If I had looped him up and around and came under and hit them in the center, it would have like KO'd both of them like 100%, but I kind of didn't want him to have time to react, and it was already close enough, so I was like, all right, let's just do that. Looks like cohort of Sotek is also popular. He needs to die. So here in the center, Luther and company are going to be going after the Skink Chief, getting a little bit of work done, and he's slippery though. Those Footlords are hard to take out. Looks like the Legion of Chaqua is going to be advancing as well, and they should be able to make relatively quick work of my gunnery mobs right there that I've summoned, and actually taking a little bit of damage right here. So despite, being in a pretty commanding position, at this point in the game, I was actually a little bit worried. I was like, oh man, is he going to be able to come back just through the sheer numbers of like Saurus? Because I've had countless games with Vampire Coast where you have the flyers and like these other troops, and you've killed like all the value stuff, but then you lose to like the Saurus and the ground troops because they're very, very hard to break. So at this point, I like pulled back. I'm like, all right, let's get serious. This battle actually took place on stream, so I was like, I better start focusing now. So the Deathshriek Terrorgeist is going to be pulling up. He is taking some poke here from the Skink Skirmishers. Saurus are piling in, Legion of Chaqua piling in, and eventually my front line will crumble here. But I know that it's pretty close to army losses, and if I do get in there and take out the Skink Chief and just continue to bombard them with the cannons, I should be able to hold pretty well. The poison, the terror, all that stuff is going to be a pretty big factor. So the Skink Chief does, of course, have Encourage, as those character units do. So we're going to be jumping in. We get a huge attack there, and Luther comes into the back, attacking these Skink cohorts, and we pretty much get an instant terror out. So at this point, it's basically Saurus, Legion of Chaqua fighting, and all these other troops, and that is pretty much going to be game blouses. So once again, brother, the Penta Bloated Corpse build comes in with the steel chair and is able to clean up the children of the old ones. So yeah, it was a really fun game for sure. I mean, wild beyond belief. And I guess the Penta Bloated Corpse is becoming a meta thing now, and we're going to be seeing it everywhere. I'm just totally kidding. It's not. It's obviously there was a couple of situations in that game where if I usually win a game with Penta Bloated Corpses, it's going to be because I got plays against my opponent that were optimal in other areas. And I mean, a couple of them did very well. The one that was able to really kill the Cav was really good, and the one against the cohort of Sotek at the end was decent. The other two pretty much just killed my own Felbats, but yeah, nonetheless, I mean, you got to pay the troll toll, and I really wasn't expecting a Basilodon. The typical build that Lizards will bring against Vampire Coast that's very strong is like super wide, just like wide with Saurus. And I actually do think the Penta Bloated Corpse would have been better against that. Had my opponent been a little bit more careful with his Skink Chiefs and some other stuff like that, he would have been able to actually counterplay the Bloody Boys really well. Like, he had all the tools to deal with them, but I think he just kind of lapsed a little bit in some of those areas. But yeah, but the Bloody Boys did it, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I mean, it's always fun seeing those guys just go kaboom. I can't wait to make a thumbnail for this. I have a pretty good idea of like a skink, like just like surrounded by them or something. I don't know. I'll think of something good. But anyways, guys, well played to my opponent, Tersui. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a Lizardman build that can counterplay, not the Bloated Corpses, but a Lizardman build against Vampire Coast. Now, a lot of people actually have been saying in comments like Lizardmen are kind of a weak faction. I just want to kind of dispel that myth. I think Lizardmen are one of the best factions out there, but it just happens that if you're drawing your analysis from just watching my channel, a lot of the games, I don't play Lizardmen that often, and nor am I that good at them. So when I do play them, it's a little bit suboptimal, and oftentimes, like, going to be playing ladder games where I may have more kind of experience in my opponents and things like that. Just kind of take that into account, because I think Lizardmen are actually like one of the best factions out there. They're incredibly good. They don't have that many weak points, for sure. I mean, you just got to watch Felcon play to be testament to that. So here you have a couple of options. You can go with Slans. Slans are always very good. You can even go with Hennewan if you want to. I mean, he's not bad on his little Velociraptor. It does bring some AP to the battlefield. And more importantly, you get some good summons, right? So you can get the Manticore summons and all those goodies. Although the Slans are really nice. They're just like big targets for like cannons and things like that. So it can be a little bit tricky for the Toads. I mean, a Fire Slan could actually be really cool against Vampire Coast. Yeah, that's kind of a new thing. So let's kind of incorporate this into the build against the Coast. So as far as spells, Burning Skull is really good. Flaming Sword's pretty decent. And Fireball, of course, is super clutch. Yeah, I just think Slans are just so freaking good. Now, for the rest of the army, it's going to be pretty straightforward. You want to bring Saurus Warriors with shields. Just bring a metric ton of these guys. It's going to be good. Wind Blast is also really good. Oh, it's so good against like Depth Guard and things like that. I'm also an advocate of mixing in the Red Crested Skinks, because these bad boys can deal with Depth Guard. And also, you know, the poison is just pretty much always useful. You can cut one of those guys, bring a couple of groups of Skink cohorts just to swarm the flanks. So the Javelins, I think, are quite good. Helps against gun lines, helps against skirmishing. And you're going to be able to pressure and go pretty wide with those guys. Now you can see kind of the army's developing. It's getting very, very wide, very thick. The Legion of Chaqua, I think, isn't a bad choice. You basically put them with the Slan to kind of protect him. And they're going to be good against like Morgul's and things like that. I'm also a huge fan of the Chameleon Skinks. Like these guys, yeah, they're really, really good. Maybe bring 2 of those, I think would be okay. Those guys are going to be able to peel all sorts of like light and armored threats and also do a ton of damage against Morgul's. So that's kind of the start of it. Now from here you have some options. Some people get like Pterodon Riders, but basically you just need to make sure that you have the tools to deal with like a Crab Blitz or something like that. So maybe mixing in some anti-large stuff would be very good. And you can get like Saurus Scar Veterans on foot even. I mean, that can be okay. Just countless things. I mean, yeah, if you want to go like really wide against like a gunline style play, you can get double Saurus Scarvet. Basically just cut these. Like a Life Slan could even be good here. I mean, there's so many options for sure. Scarvets will be able to deal with crabs. Like you'll be able to win the infantry fight. Skinks will do pretty good at pressuring from all angles. Like a build like this, I think, would have really crushed my Bloaty Boy build. Like, I don't know. Maybe if I got really good bloaty bombs here on the Saurus Warriors and things like that. And against like Luther, you basically just have to keep the Saurus. I mean, yeah, having them on a Velociraptor might just be a lot better. Yeah, they're bigger targets, but I think the mobility is like just so valuable. So from there, we probably cut one of these guys. We get them on a Velociraptor and a Velociraptor there. Yeah, that's better. Having that anti-large to really punch things down. It almost makes me want to get a Life Slan, but I think something like this is okay. So well played to my opponent. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and we'll see you guys on the other side. Take care.